The Rambam in Hilchos Brochos rules that the brocha, which we say after eating bread, is a Torah obligation. As it says in next week's parasha, V'chaltav savoto v'irachto, you eat, you'll be sated, you must bless Hashem. All other brochos are only rabbinical. And how many brochos must we say every day? 100 brochos. Where is it based upon? Because David HaMelech had legislated that a Jew should say 100 brachos a day. This is to ward off, there was a plague, and the only way the plague was stopped was the Jews had to come to a level of cognizance and recognition, and to mention God within a context of Melech HaOlam 100 times a day. You must say 100 brachos every day. In this week's parsha, Moshe Rabbeinu says, "T'chal Yisrael hatem adveikim Hashem Elokeichem." You will cleave to God. Chaim kulchem hayom. Then you'll be chaim. So we always mention him in the Maral. What is the source of all life, of all existence? God Himself. So the more one attaches himself to the source of life, the more he becomes alive, more effective he becomes, the more vibrant he is. So if here the Balaturim writes, we know in the Torah, in Tefillin, Mezuzah, we have something called Tagim. They're crowns on certain letters. Crowns on the Posuk, Atem Hadvekim, Hashem Elokechem. So the Balaturim says, Tagim el Kuf. There are crowns on the Kuf. The numerical value of Kuf is 100. Remes Kuf Brochos Shetzorach Levorach B'chol Yom. This alludes to the 100 brachos that you must say every day. Meaning, if a person wants to truly cleave to God in a proper way, you should say Be'eh Brochos B'chol Yom. And what is that dependent upon? Because when you say the bracha, it creates, not only is it a declaration of your belief that everything is rooted in Him, but it creates a cognizance of His presence in your life. It's a dveikus. And therefore, it's chaim kulchem. So if a person is able to achieve, to some degree, the concept of Shvise Hashem Legdi Summit, as David says, you're always, your presence is always in my mind, your whole life becomes a different life. That's because the person is truly dovik. He's always attached. God is always with him. There's a famous word. There was one of the graduates of the Tel Yeshiva in Europe. His name was Rav Mordechai Pagramansky, famous, world-renowned genius, and he was a Baal Tshuva, and a genius of one of a kind of geniuses. He was known before the war and after the war in Paris. He lived in Paris, and so he had tremendous insights. We find that Hagar, who was the wife of Avram, who initially was the maidservant of Sarah Imenu, after she was driven out of the home, it says she went and she was toa baderech. She went lost. She went astray on the way. So Rashi says, Chosra ligiluli avia. She was the daughter of Paro. She was an Egyptian princess. She went back to the idolatry of her father. So Rav Mordechai Pagramansky says, how do we know she went back to her father's idolatry, her idolatrous ways? It says she went astray on the way. So he explains, because a person who's attached to God never goes astray. You're never lost on the way. Even if you're all by yourself lost, if God's with you and you feel God's with you, you're never lost. And since the Torah says she was lost, that's an indication she severed her relationship with Hashem, and that means she returned to the idolatry of her father's home. There's the tagim, the crowns on Kuf, that if a person is cognizant of Hashem's presence through articulating 100 brachos a day, this creates that dveikus. It creates that cognizance, and if you have the cognizance, then you're surely attached.